All right, hi everybody. Ryan Pruitt here, typical white guy. Today we're talking about Robert Mueller, impeachment, the Democrats, and where we went wrong. Um, this has been on my mind anyway. I was on Twitter and finally had to respond to. There are people like me, Democrats, very upset that things are not happening like we want them to, and but people, it's easy to complain. It's another thing to have an idea, and I'm not even saying I have an idea, but we have to look at where we are, how we got here, and where we go from here. Um, I always tell people whenever any job I've had and I'm training someone new, I always begin with this is the way things are supposed to go. Here's the ideal path. And then your job most of the time is correcting what should be happening. Um, that's just the way it is. I think, speaking for the average Democrat, I think what we thought would happen is November 2018, blue wave, Democrats take the House, yeah, and from there, so Democrats win the House, they get sworn in January 2019, and now have the gavel, have all these committee chairman's committee power. The next thing that was going to happen, the Mueller report would come out, and the Ken Starr Clinton impeachment hangs like a shadow over this, because what we remember is we remember how very political Ken Starr handled everything. He was in the press every day. He presented the articles. He presented the report himself. He presented the articles of impeachment. He pretty much painted the Republicans into a corner, down a path that led to a dead end. Yes, Clinton was impeached, but he was also maintained his popularity, and it did not take the Republicans where they wanted to go. Now, it can be argued that in the long run, Republicans did win from that impeachment. When Al Gore ran for president in 2000, he didn't want Clinton to campaign with him. He lost Arkansas. The Republicans in 2000 did take, I believe I know they won the presidency, and I believe they took either the House and the Senate, or at least one of them. So in the long run, the Republicans did win from impeachment. But anyway, so I think what we thought would happen is Democrats win the House, Robert Mueller releases his report, and when he released his report, he would somewhat Ken Starrish present the report and say, here's what I found, here's the part that I can do, Congress, you now do the rest. And then Congress, on this wave of the election, on this wave of the Mueller report, on this wave of Robert Mueller himself testifying, would then launch it. It would be, hey, look, here's all the facts, here's the witnesses, here's the guy who ran the investigation. One smooth path right into impeachment. And the momentum would be so overwhelming that Republicans would either not get in the way, concede defeat, or would go to President Trump and be like, look, this is not happening. You need to kind of Nixon on out of here and resign. And that was the ideal path. Things got in the way. And so for those, this is July 2019 we're talking right now. For my fellow Democrats and Twitter friends who want the path of let's go forward with impeachment regardless of public opinion, um, Senate feet dragging, the whole impeach based on the moral imperative, that window has closed. If House Democrats were really going to do that, just screw the polls, screw public opinion, we'll get them as we go. That window was 7 to 14 days after the Mueller report came out. If the House Democrats were serious about impeachment, that's when it would have happened. And it didn't. But so let's review what has happened since then, off the ideal path of what was, quote unquote, supposed to happen. The Mueller report didn't even come out. It went to William Barr, who, he's going in history, especially in Democratic history. He will go down as much a villain as President Trump at this point. What William Barr has done is unbelievable. And I think, one thing, reading about government history, reading about the way things work among the branches, among the court, from between the court and Congress and the presidency, a lot of it is based on gentleman's rule. There's an understanding that why does the executive branch have to follow the subpoena from Congress? It had always been thought that the reason one branch has to listen to the other branch is because eventually the shoe will be on the other foot. Eventually, Republicans blowing off subpoenas one day would have to have their own subpoenas blown off. But the thing with President Trump is he does not care about what comes after. He broke the standard. He broke the gentleman's rules that a lot of the government has always been based on, and reciprocity was something that kept people in check. President Trump has flat out told people to break the law, to break, forget even impeachment aside, just normal congressional business. President Trump has told even people no longer even working for him to blow off Congress. So the idea of impeachment, first off, even on an ideal path, even if everything had fallen the way it was supposed to go, that the report came out, that Mueller testified, that Mueller recommended impeachment, even if we had gone that path, I still don't know. Like I said, in a way, I guess it doesn't matter what would have happened. But even on an ideal path, where everything lined up, everything happened the way it was supposed to, impeachment leading to a conviction, leading to removal, or even to the pressure point where Republicans are telling Trump, hey, you've got to resign. Even on an ideal path, that would have been difficult to accomplish. Where we are now, and listen, this is where I share in my fellow, Democrats' frustration is, and maybe, God, I hate even giving him credit or what the hell, but President Trump has broken the norm. He is completely blowing off. I remember I looked it up. Congress has the power, it's been ruled in court, they can jail people that ignore their subpoenas. And what's happening, they can't even get a live witness to appear. They can't get people to talk. They can't. Congress strikes zero fear in the executive branch or anybody who even ever worked in the executive branch. There is no force behind the power. And without the force, without public outrage, without some kind of public electoral repercussion, President Trump's strategy is to blow it all off, and as he blows it off, make the argument that this is all taking too long, which is frankly genius. So I understand the frustration, but tomorrow, like I said, the window for moral outrage impeachment is gone. If tomorrow Congress said, okay, you know what, all these other courses are not happening, we're just going to start impeaching, that is the same kind of political Hail Mary that we mocked President Trump for when he declared a national emergency at the border. You can't declare something an emergency months or years after it happened. You can't declare an emergency just because the other options didn't work. The emergency is that Congress cannot get the executive branch to listen to them. And I understand, and I'm trying to be patient and understand that this is taking time, that they are developing these precedents. They have to go through each little legal step, so that way when it does go to the court, they can show the court, look, we have done every single thing that we can do, but they are still ignoring us. It's taking time. It may be taking too much time. The way forward, like I said, the next window, the next impeachment bus will leave on, what is it, July 16th, the day after Mueller testifies. When Mueller testifies in public, Democrats have to, no, we don't do outrage quite as well as Republicans do. But we need, if the next window of opportunity is the day after Mueller testifies, we have to go full Republican and act as if the sky is falling. Act as if we don't impeach now, that this is an impending, ongoing disaster, corruption, that it is a national emergency that President Trump is in office. The House leadership has to react in that manner. And I don't think they will. I think, like I said, right or wrong, I mean, like I said, I'm not even saying I agree with it, but I think the impeachment, they don't have faith. They don't have faith in the public right now. The public there's not a public outrage for impeachment. Democrats have been accused of being too intellectual from time to time, from overthinking things, we see Republicans get outraged about things, and that's just not how we do things. And this might be a time that's unfortunate, because there's a lot to be outraged about. But we have the leadership we do because we have faith in them, because we trust them in the long term. It won us the House in 2018. And there's so much to not like about Trump that I think their theory is don't fight a one-front war to make them bleed out by 1,000 cuts, 1,000 different scandals. And so with that, I hope we get this right.